Hello Scorpio, Scorpio Rising and Scorpio Moon people. This is your weekly astrological and card forecast for the week starting December 26th, 2016, the last week of December here. Quick reminder, your monthly astrology horoscopes for January are up on the main channel page under a playlist of their very own. I've also recently put out a live broadcast of an hour and 45-minute long lecture on the astrology of 2017, if you want to listen to that while you do your holiday driving. And of course, remember, classes are starting in January. Online classes, online tarot classes, and online astrology webinar classes. The tarot classes start on the 8th, so if you'd like to sign up for any of those, you do need to go to my website, integrativemysticism.com, and reserve a spot for yourself. And look forward to seeing you. So what is going on with your astrology this week, Scorpio? Everyone's getting the same message in a lot of ways, because Jupiter is opposing Uranus, and that means that puts us on the spot. In fact, Jupiter in your 12th house, your secrets, your privacy, and your hidden zone is going to be opposed to Uranus, currently in your 6th house of reputation, your work, the service to others, and how you're seen. And Jupiter is asking you, Scorpio, to allow people to know more about your private life, or to bring more of what you keep in private out into the open. That's the big theme. And we have an opportunity to do this today, from the 26th all the way up to the 30th, actually. And what happens, though, is that with this angle, with this energy, it's kind of giving you an opportunity to have people get to know the real you, alright? And if you've been feeling like maybe you've been misunderstood, people aren't understanding you, people aren't bothering to scratch beneath the surface, and I feel like the reason you're being put on the spot is because when people ask you more, have you ever had those situations where it's kind of like people want to ask you more about what you know? They want to ask you more about why you say that, what you want to, what can we go deeper on that? Sometimes we're put on the spot and we don't even take advantage of the opportunity that's there. And a lot of that is going to be a big theme this week. If you've been feeling that complaint about friends, about co-workers, especially because it's the 6th house, now we have an opportunity to really get, to help people get to know the real us. But don't shy away from being put on the spot just because you are. Later on in the week, we've got Saturn, the planet of restrictions, boundaries, and all of those things, forming a tense square with Chiron, the asteroid that rules our unfinished baggage, so to speak, the unhealed wounds. Some people call it the wounded healer, I call it our baggage. And it's between your 2nd house of income and your values, and your 5th house of love and romance. And there may need to be a discussion about how much value we put on romantic attention, or maybe our partner puts on romantic attention. Has a relationship become a little bit one-sided? Is it all about just the affection, the attention, and the romantic side of things? Has one side of the pie chart in this relationship gotten way too big, and maybe we're not paying enough attention to the rest of it? This is a time where it could be challenging for some people to hear, because some people it's, words are louder than actions, or they don't care about the rest, it's just about the attention, and sometimes it's just a phase, but it will need to be confronted. This is also a time where we might actually have to confront issues with our kids as far as, expense, or teaching them some kind of financial responsibility that they're not letting sink in. But either way, it's unfinished business that does need to get addressed. So what is going on with your cards this week, we may ask? Well, we do have the card of Duira for your spiritual advice. This is the card of nurturing and nourishment. And when we talk about, we just talked about it actually in a little way, anyways, because this card does talk about paying attention to what is not getting the right amount of attention, or what is not getting the right amount of emphasis. Balancing, I guess you could say balancing our emotional diet, balancing our emotional bank account in a lot of ways. Because the Duira card is saying, again, something is getting overemphasized to the detriment of something very special, that is also equally important. We already talked about that with romance. Sometimes we focus on one aspect of a relationship to the exclusivity of all else, and that's not healthy. Sometimes this can happen in other areas, though. Maybe we've been working way too hard. We've been focusing so much on work, we've been focusing so much on career. Our family life is starting to atrophy a little bit. Maybe we've been so much at home, we're losing touch with friends. How do we balance this out? How do we make everything even Stevens again with the Duira card? That's the question, again, because it's like you can't get all the nourishment you need in a balanced diet, Well, it's not a balanced diet if all you're getting is vitamin K. And that's kind of what we got to pay attention to this week. For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and finances, we have the Temperance card upright. Beautiful card for those of you that are looking to do some kind of repair work when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your work life, because the Temperance card is talking about patching up. And patching up, whether they're financial issues or financial holes, or patching up rifts in social dealings with collaborators, with peers, with colleagues, the Temperance card is basically saying everyone is getting back on the same page this week. If you are looking for a new job, the Temperance card upright does definitely say we have an opportunity to score one, or at least score an interview this week. But the Temperance card does take things slow, and it will say this is not permanent. The job could be permanent, but what you'll be doing on that job is not permanent. It will be slowly integrating into something else. But that's okay as well, because again, we do have the opportunity for those finances to start flowing properly again. And again, getting that back into a balance, which is what we want to be working on. Strictly financially, we're patching up a lot of holes and patching up a lot of issues that could be either draining your finances or inhibiting you from making more. So either way, it's a good week for money. For your communications with air, when it comes to your friends, your relatives, and the others in your life, we have the Strength card upright. And this could be a really nice thing to see for those of you, again, who have been trying to maybe actually strengthen one of your friendships if you feel like there has been a drift. Because the Strength card upright is basically saying, no, this is this is going to be given priority if you feel like maybe you've been neglected by a friend or you're looking to try and reconnect with people. The Strength card upright says there will be some kind of testament, some kind of action, or maybe even some kind of activity that you guys do to rebond. And rebonding is a big theme with the Strength card upright, because we are trying to bring that forward into balance. I will say, however, though, when it comes to the Strength card, there may even be some invitations for some passionate encounters as well, if you are in the mood. For your challenge this week with fire, we do have the Two of Wands inverted. And again, we have to pay attention to when we can't afford to be misunderstood. Because the Two of Wands inverted says that, Scorpio, we have to make sure that our language isn't too cryptic this week. You know, we can't be speaking too vague. I've started saying a lot, vague can be irresponsible in a lot of ways. And the Two of Wands inverted can talk a lot about a need for you to make sure that people aren't hearing one thing from you, but getting a completely different message. Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes we're too subtle, or sometimes we leave it open to interpretation. And that's not necessarily a good idea with the Two of Wands inverted. Because we can all hear each other and listen to each other, but the words that we use, or the emphasis that we place, can completely change the message. And so your challenge this week is knowing how you say something is more important than what you're trying to say. For your communications with air, when it comes to your communications, we already did that card. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we do have the Six of Cups upright. Which is interesting because this does talk about nostalgia. This does talk about kind of going back to the past in a romantic situation. This could bring old lovers or perhaps old flames back into your life. Or we may even find out that somebody that we never really considered a romantic potential or a romantic interest in our past or from our past suddenly becomes available and is suddenly quite compelling. You know, every once in a while you can look down, you can look up and down your Facebook page and see that person from high school and be like, wow, when did you get sexy? And that could also be what we have going on here with the Six of Cups upright, because it's all about, again, taking a trip down memory lane to find your love. Now, the thing is that for those of you who are currently coupled, we could still be taking a trip down memory lane. In fact, somehow going back over, and maybe even bringing back something that we used to do together could be a great way to strengthen our relationship. Bringing something back that we missed, that we stopped doing. Maybe you used to do a lot of driving together and go on long drives together. Maybe we used to, have a certain type of movie night. Maybe we're interested in moving back to an old neighborhood or an old city. The Six of Cups upright is saying, what needs to be brought back into your love life to, again, keep it strong and reignite those fires. So that is your forecast, Scorpio. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And of course, if you'd like to get a session with me, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.